Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into this really interesting sermon by Pastor Chabola, all about the idea of God with us.
Emmanuel.
Yeah, Emmanuel. It really got me thinking about, how we approach life, especially in like our modern world,
Yeah.
with this emphasis on independence and all that.
It's fascinating how Pastor Jabola kind of pushes back on that whole self-made narrative.
Right.
Like we often think freedom means doing everything ourselves, but he suggests that maybe,
Yeah.
true fulfillment comes from recognizing our need for something bigger.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like we've got all these articles and books about the benefits of self-sufficiency.
Right.
But then Pastor Jabola is saying, hold on a sec. Even in a perfect world, like think about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
They couldn't thrive without God, even in paradise.
Exactly. It's like even surrounded by abundance,
Yeah.
they still needed that connection with something beyond themselves. It really challenges that whole, modern pursuit of self-sufficiency.
It's like we're trying to build these perfect little self-contained worlds,
Mm-hmm.
but those walls end up isolating us.
Yeah, and Pastor Jabola actually uses this great example. He talks about this Twitter thread from a young millionaire
Oh, yeah.
who's boasting about his success, saying he did it all without God.
It's like the opposite of what he's saying.
Totally. And it illustrates what Pastor Jabola calls the devil's deception.
The devil's deception. Okay.
Like we're constantly being tempted with these shortcuts
Yeah.
to success and wealth and happiness
Right.
that try to make us think we don't need a higher power. Like those get-rich-quick schemes,
Yeah, totally.
might look appealing, but they don't really lead to lasting fulfillment.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So then how does prayer fit into all of this?
Well, Pastor Jabola sees prayer as more than just asking for things.
Mhm.
It's like a form of surrender,
Okay.
recognizing our limitations and being open to guidance.
It's like reaching out to a mentor for advice.
Exactly.
Not that you're admitting weakness, but you recognize that another perspective could be helpful.
And just like ignoring a mentor's advice can lead to bad decisions.
Right.
Neglecting prayer can be a sign of pride, that illusion that we've got it all figured out.
And pride, as Pastor Jabola warns, it's like a wall that blocks us from experiencing God with us.
Exactly. It's not just the obvious forms of pride either.
Right.
Like Pastor Jabola suggests that even clinging to harmful behaviors or making big decisions without seeking guidance,
Oh, I see.
those can be subtle expressions of pride too.
So it's about humility, really.
Yes, recognizing that we don't have all the answers. Which, speaking of answers,
Mhm.
Pastor Jabola tells this really interesting story to illustrate all this about 3 little fish who meet God and get to make a wish.
Okay, a fish story. I like it. So what do they wish for?
Well, each fish's wish kind of represents a different approach to life, and their fates reveal a lot about the limitations of self-reliance versus trusting in something bigger. But
Hmm.
before we get into that, I think it's important to clarify that embracing the idea of God with us
Yeah.
doesn't mean you just become passive or give up on your goals.
Oh, definitely not. Pastor Jabola makes it clear that it's not about sitting back and waiting for things to happen.
Mhm.
It's more about inviting God into the journey.
Like a partner.
Exactly. It's a collaboration.
Yeah.
Combining our efforts with a sense of guidance and purpose.
So you're not giving up responsibility.
Right.
You're just acknowledging that you don't have to do it all alone.
That's a really great way to put it.
And that brings us back to prayer, right?
Yeah.
It's about that ongoing conversation, seeking direction,
Yeah.
expressing gratitude, recognizing that God with us isn't just a nice idea.
It's an active source of strength.
Exactly. Okay, so back to those fish and their wishes.
Yeah. So the first fish, obsessed with safety,
Okay,
wishes for eyes all over his body so he can see danger coming from every direction.
makes sense, right?
The second fish, driven by ambition,
Mm-hmm.
wishes for wings to fly above any threats. Wow, so they both want to avoid danger, just in different ways.
And these wishes reflect common human desires, don't they? The need for security,
Yeah.
the pursuit of achievement, the desire to rise above our circumstances.
But what about that third fish?
What does his choice reveal about a different way of approaching life?
Yeah,
Well,
no.
he wishes for something totally different. He simply wishes for God's presence to always be with him.
Interesting. So we've got these three fish, each representing a different way of dealing with life's challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And their fates are going to show us what happens when we rely only on ourselves versus choosing to align with something greater.
Exactly. It'll be really interesting to see how it all unfolds. Okay, so we've got these 3 fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Each with their own wish and way of dealing with life. But before we jump into what happens to them,
Okay.
I think it's important to remember that embracing God with us
Right.
It doesn't mean you become passive or give up on your goals.
Oh, definitely not. Pastor Jabola really emphasizes that it's not about just sitting back and letting things happen.
Yeah.
It's more about inviting God into the process, like a partner.
Right. It's a collaboration. We're
Mhm.
combining our efforts with that sense of guidance.
So you're still striving for excellence,
Yeah.
you're working hard,
Yes.
but you're acknowledging that you don't have to go it alone.
Exactly. And that's where prayer comes in again, right?
Yeah.
Pastor Jabala talks about how prayer is more than just a wish list.
Right.
It's about that ongoing conversation, seeking direction.
Expressing gratitude.
Right. And recognizing that God with us isn't just a nice concept.
Yeah.
It's a source of strength we can tap into every day.
Exactly. It's like that constant support.
It is. And you know what's interesting? Pastor Jabola actually frames prayer as a form of gratitude, too.
Oh, how so?
He suggests that when we take the time to acknowledge the blessings in our lives,
Yeah.
it shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance.
Oh, I see.
It's like taking a moment to appreciate a beautiful sunset
Yeah.
or a random act of kindness.
Those little things.
Exactly. And those small moments of gratitude,
Yeah.
they can really impact how we see the world.
It's so easy to focus on what's going wrong
Yeah.
or what we're lacking, what we're worried about.
Absolutely.
But when we shift our focus to what we're grateful for,
Yeah.
it's like we're inviting in more good things.
Gratitude's like a magnet for grace.
Okay, I like the gratitude as a magnet for grace.
But, it's important to acknowledge that life isn't always easy.
Oh, for sure.
We're going to face challenges.
Definitely. There are going to be times when we feel lost,
Yeah.
overwhelmed, even abandoned by God.
And those are the moments
Yeah.
when it's really tough to maintain that sense of God with us.
Right. So how do we deal with those times?
Well, Pastor Jabola reminds us that even in those difficult times,
Mm-hmm.
the promise of Emmanuel remains constant.
It's like having a friend who's always there for you.
Exactly. Like no matter what you're going through,
Yeah.
God's presence is constant.
Even when we mess up or stray off course.
Exactly. And just like any true friend, God doesn't force his presence on us.
Right. We have that choice.
Yeah, we choose whether to acknowledge and embrace that presence.
So bringing it back to those 3 fish.
Yes. Remember, the first fish wanted eyes everywhere.
To avoid danger, right.
Exactly. Thinking he could outsmart any threat.
And what about the second fish? He wanted wings.
Right. He thought he could just fly above it all.
But did those wishes really bring them the security they were looking for?
Well, that's where things get interesting. The first fish, even with all those eyes, ends up getting caught off guard by a shark.
Oh, no.
All those eyes couldn't protect him from something he didn't see coming.
It's like no matter how prepared you think you are,
Yeah.
there's always going to be something unexpected.
And the second fish, the one with wings, he thinks he's safe up in the sky. But
Yeah.
he gets snatched up by a bird.
So even achieving those big goals,
Hmm.
it doesn't guarantee protection.
It highlights those limitations of relying solely on our own strength.
So both those fish, they were relying on themselves, their own strategies.
Right.
And it didn't work out so well.
It points to that need for something beyond our own capability, something bigger.
Which brings us to the third fish,
Yeah.
the one who wished for God's presence to always be with him.
What happens to him? Well, this is where the story takes a really interesting turn.
So that third fish, the one who wanted God's presence, what happens to him? Does he just, sail through life with no problems?
Well, not exactly. He still encounters sharks and obstacles.
Oh, okay.
It's not like he's immune to life's challenges. But here's the thing. Each time a shark approaches,
Yeah.
they hesitate. Like they sense something different about this fish.
Like they could feel that presence, huh?
It's like they're saying to each other, don't mess with that one. There's something powerful protecting him.
Wow. So even the sharks recognize it. That's amazing.
It's like a reminder that aligning with a higher power, it can provide a level of safety and security that we can't achieve on our own.
But it's not just about protection, right?
No, it's about facing those challenges with a sense of peace and confidence, knowing you're not alone. You're not relying solely on your own strength.
You've got that backup.
Exactly. You're drawing on a deeper source of support.
It's like that saying, God helps those who help themselves.
I like that. It's about recognizing that we're not meant to face life's difficulties alone.
There's strength in acknowledging that need for guidance, for that connection.
And that message really resonates with me, especially in today's world.
Yeah, we all face those moments, right?
Absolutely. We all have times where we feel lost, overwhelmed, like we're just barely hanging on.
And it can be hard to feel that sense of connection with God with us when things get tough.
It's in those moments when our faith is really tested.
So how do we hold on to that faith when it feels like everything's falling apart?
Well, Pastor Jabola suggests one powerful practice: gratitude.
Oh, okay, gratitude. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah. When we focus on what we're thankful for, it shifts our perspective.
Like instead of focusing on what's wrong,
Exactly. We start to see the abundance that's already present.
and it doesn't have to be some big elaborate thing, right?
No, not at all. Even something as simple as keeping a gratitude journal.
Oh, like writing down things you're grateful for each day.
Exactly. Or just taking a few minutes before bed to reflect on the good things.
It's like training our minds to look for the positive.
And when we cultivate that attitude of gratitude, it's amazing how it can impact our lives. It's like we attract more goodness, more grace.
Because like you said, life isn't always easy.
Yeah.
There can be storms.
Absolutely. There will be challenges, heartaches, moments of doubt.
And it's easy to feel lost, even abandoned by God in those times.
But Pastor Jabola reminds us that even when we can't feel it,
Yeah.
that presence is still there, offering comfort and strength.
It's like that friend who sits with you in silence when you're hurting.
Exactly. They don't need to say anything. You just feel their support.
And sometimes that support comes from unexpected places.
Right. Absolutely. It could be a kind word from a stranger, a song that speaks to your soul.
Even just a moment of clarity that helps you see things differently.
It's like those little winks from the universe reminding us that we're not alone.
It's like we're being guided, even when we don't realize it.
And those moments of grace, they can lead to real growth and healing.
They can help us understand ourselves and our place in the world a little better.
It's about trusting that even when we can't see the path clearly, there's a higher power leading us towards our highest good.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into God with us,
Yeah.
remember that third fish? The one who wished for God's presence to always be with him? That fish swimming through life, facing challenges, but always with that sense of companionship.
It's a powerful image, isn't it?
It's a reminder that we all have that same choice. We can choose to embrace God with us, not as some distant concept,
Right.
but as a living, breathing reality that can transform our lives.
That can guide us, comfort us, and empower us to live more fully.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration. And until next time, may you always feel that comforting presence of God with us, with you, every step of the way.